That's our interpretation of how it must have been on August 1, 1834, and more appropriately August 1, 1838, when the former British slaves were finally fully free. We can only imagine how it must have felt to be able to make your own decision on something as simple as staying in bed a few minutes more. Centuries on, we continue to build on the legacy of our forebears, and we remember their triumph over adversity. Our Emancipation edition of Jamaica Magazine continues after this short break. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
Where in this world I go, I am a Jamaican.
Jamaica comes alive as we celebrate 60 years of independence, our Diamond Jubilee. All year long, join in the celebratory events, showcasing impactful legacy projects, entertainment and exciting commemorative events. Resilient and brave, industrious. Yes, we are Jamaicans. Jamaica 60, reigniting a nation for greatness.
Them here Jamaican chat, them say Jamaican bop.
We now hear Prime Minister Andrew Holness's charge for this year's Emancipation Day celebrations.
So many milestones and episodes make up our Jamaican story. However, we can agree that the proclamation of emancipation in 1834, after over 300 years of both Spanish and British enslavement, is pivotal to understanding our current situation and future trajectory. We commemorate Emancipation Day not only as a celebration of the culmination of the struggles of over 10 generations of our ancestors to gain freedom, but we also recount it as the starting point of a free people now taking up a new struggle to forge themselves into a sovereign nation. After full freedom in 1838, our former enslaved family members had certain rights granted to them by the colonial government. We did not have a government of our own making, reflection, or choosing. We were subjects of the colonial power, but still treated as lesser people in many respects. For 128 years, between emancipation in 1834 and independence in 1962, though we lived as free people, it was a monumental struggle to use our freedom to create a better way of life, to forge a new society, and eventually a nation. Changing from a slave society and economy to a free society and market economy came under provisions that considered the interest of the proprietors ahead of the welfare of freed people. While planters got compensated for losing their free labor, the former enslaved received no compensation for centuries of forced labor. While there were attempts at providing education, the planter class kept wages low, taxes high, and made land access challenging to support work on the plantation. This led to a pivotal event in our history, the Morant Bay Rebellion, which occurred in 1865, 31 years after emancipation. Paul Bogle and George William Gordon provided leadership and voice to the frustration and agitation of the masses. Their protest was brutally repressed. Bogle and Gordon were tried under martial law and summarily hanged. Over 400 Jamaicans were killed, and hundreds more were imprisoned and lashed. The brutality of the repressive response of the governor at the time drew the attention of the British colonial government, and a commission of inquiry was held into Jamaica's prevailing social and economic conditions. As a result, the colonial government took a more significant and direct interest in governance and requirements of life for the people of Jamaica. Generally, there was an improvement in civil administration, justice, land settlement, and some social services. To be clear, this was not universal or sufficient, mainly as it related to economic conditions. Nevertheless, this was an important turning point in the development of Jamaica. And as we celebrate our freedom, we remember and give honor to those who gave their lives, made the ultimate sacrifice to make our freedom meaningful today. Despite modest but uneven progress resulting from the Morant Bay Rebellion, by 1938, 73 years after the rebellion and 100 years after full freedom, the political, social, and economic conditions did not keep pace with the growing population and labor force. The Great Depression of 1933, the onset of World War II, and the weakened and receding British Empire set the global backdrop and context. Locally, our economy remained agrarian and largely undiversified, with sugar and bananas being our main export and leading employers of labor. So there was not much transformation in our economic circumstances for over 100 years. We also faced a crisis of political participation because the masses could not vote and exercise a true franchise in their affairs. Therefore, the labor uprisings of 1938 were another pivotal point in our history between emancipation and independence. The struggle for better wages was not only the agitation of the working masses against the meanness of the capital and planter class. This energy also gave momentum to political action, with the average Jamaican questioning why the colonial government did not intervene on their behalf. They needed a government that represented their interest. Alexander Bustamante and others gave leadership and voice to our labor movement. Together with Norman Manley, they would lay the foundations for the democracy we have today and start the process of claiming our independence and sovereignty. So in 24 years between the labor struggles of 1938 to independence in 1962, Jamaica made significant strides in its development as a nation. We established trade unions and labor laws. We forged political parties, instituted universal adult suffrage, founded the University of the West Indies, drafted new constitutions, and returned Jamaica to internal self-government. On the economic front, we saw greater diversification with bauxite and tourism and more significant infrastructure development. As we celebrate emancipation in our 60th year of independence, we must reflect on what we used our freedom to achieve. Any objective assessment of the 128 years from emancipation to independence will conclude that the Jamaicans, throughout that period, made great strides, even though they started with no assets or endowment, particularly in land. They had no savings or wealth to pass down to generations. Education was primary and illiteracy was high. Violence, a means of control during slavery, became part of our socialization through generations. The economy simply could not absorb the labor force and pay meaningful wages. Despite these disadvantages, however, Jamaica is among the oldest and continuous liberal democracies in the world and is the first black democratic nation. We have a free press, a highly participatory civil society. We have a strong government and civil bureaucracy. We are ranked highly on many development indices and continue to be a respected voice in international affairs and a sought-after brand. As you listen to this message, against the backdrop of current social and economic crises, I want you to situate yourself in the generations of Jamaicans who struggled with the troubles and challenges of their time. Remember how they persevered, kept the faith, and eventually overcame to leave us a legacy on which to build. We must honor their sacrifice by making our own sacrifice for generations to come. Your efforts in educating your children, saving, acquiring property, building your business, abiding by the law, and even the difficult and trying times we are experiencing will mean that the next generation, your children and grandchildren, will be better off. We will progress as a nation when each generation sees themselves as part of the continuum of the struggle for a better Jamaica. On this Emancipation Day, thank your parents and grandparents for their sacrifices, and think about how you can leave a greater legacy for your children. God bless you, and God bless Jamaica.
Each time you're not paying full attention to the road environment, the greater your chances of getting in a crash like that. Plan routes to avoid focusing on GPS systems, prevent children from roaming in motor vehicles, turn down the volume of car stereo systems, pull off the roadway if you have to use mobile devices, do not read, watch television or eat while driving, avoid multitasking, and keep conversations with other passengers to a minimum. Whether you walk, ride or drive, avoid potentially fatal distractions.
Leader of the opposition Mark Golding's Emancipation Day message is next.
Emancipation Day is of great historical significance to Jamaica and many other countries across the world that were formerly part of the British Empire. Plantation slavery came to an end at midnight on July 31st, 1838, and so the 1st of August is the anniversary of the day when slavery ended. It is the day on which we celebrate our freedom as a people, a day of very great national importance, as the vast majority of our ancestors came to these shores in bondage. Today, we remember the contributions of our ancestors to the freedoms we now enjoy, many of whom suffered and died in the fight for justice from the oppressive system in which they lived. As we remember, we also renew our commitment to defending the rights and freedoms won through our ancestors' blood, sweat and tears over centuries of courageous struggle. Our history must fully recognize the central contribution and value of the resistance to slavery by the slaves themselves. Our own people were our principal liberators. It was not willingly given to us by others, despite what they would sometimes have us believe. Great heroines and heroes of our people, Nanny, Taki, and Sam Sharp, led the way to freedom from slavery. The observation of Emancipation Day as a public holiday was reinstated in 1997 to ensure that we never forget the significance of the 1st of August celebrations. I continue to believe in the power of that observance. It is distinct from and as significant as the 6th of August, when we celebrate the anniversary of our political independence. When the 311,000 former slaves left the plantations 184 years ago as free men and women, they received no compensation for their and their foreparents' unpaid labor and abuse. This underscores the justice of the claim for reparations, a process that has received bipartisan support from successive governments for over a decade and is being pursued through the National Commission on Reparations and at the regional level by the CARICOM Reparations Commission. As Dr. Martin Luther King reminded us, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. I recall that last year, the government, through the Minister with responsibility for culture, said that they would be embarking on a separate initiative to seek compensation by way of a petition to the Privy Council, seeking billions of pounds in reparations. The country has not been told anything more of this since that announcement and would like to know the present status of that petition. In addition to the outstanding claim for reparations, land remains an unresolved issue in Jamaica. Other than in a few historic free villages, the emancipated former slaves receive no land or other assets to start their new lives. And even today, many hundreds of thousands of Jamaicans continue to live in informal settlements without security of land tenure or adequate supporting infrastructure. This is why government must step in to regularize their ownership and give these Jamaicans the fundamental economic opportunity and sense of dignity that come with owning the land where they live. Slavery was an exploitative system rooted in violence. Violent crime continues to sap our national energy, driving high levels of fear and dimming the flame of hope in our people. It is preventing our nation from achieving its full potential. We must emancipate ourselves from that aspect of mental slavery which makes us too quick to anger and too willing to use violence in our everyday lives. Emancipation Day 2022 is a time to recommit ourselves to peaceful coexistence, to tolerance for the views of others, and to love and respect for all. In celebration of the indomitable spirit of our foreparents, who would rather die upon yonder gallows than live in slavery, I wish you a happy Emancipation Day. God bless Jamaica, and God bless all our people.
To properly carry out a hand rub, apply a palmful of the product in your cupped hand, covering all surfaces. Rub your hands palm to palm. Rub your right palm over the back of your left hand with interlaced fingers and vice versa. Rub your hands palm to palm with fingers interlaced. Rub the back of your fingers to opposing palms with fingers interlocked. Rotationally rub backwards and forwards the clasped fingers of your right hand in your left palm and vice versa. Once your hands are dry, they are now safe.
We want to get you in the mood of celebrating 60 years of Jamaica's political independence with this next feature.
I'm a born Jamaican, I'm a son of the soil. I love the sea, I love the sun, Lord, I love this land. Don't matter where I go, Jamaica is my home. I love the girls, coconut water and white rum.
As the calendar reaches mid-July, there's usually a buzz of activities showcasing signature festival events leading up to the country's grand independence celebration on August 6th. This highly physical, interactive period is a well-anticipated time for both the young and old.
Yeah, we love Jamaica Island.
But for the past year and a half, things have been different, with the COVID-19 pandemic suspending or forcing events into the virtual realm. Although not the same vibes, our spirits are still high as we look back on all the good times we've had in the past.
Go Jamaica, we love you!
I'm dreaming of a new Jamaica, a land of peace
Festival is a melting pot of cultural activities that has something to the liking of everyone. If fashion is your thing, 2017 was tailored to your taste.
Boom, shakalaka, laka, boom, 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 boom. Boom, shakalaka, laka, boom, boom, boom. Boom, shakalaka, laka, boom, boom, boom. Boom, shakalaka, laka, boom, boom, boom.
A must-have fixture on our Independence calendar is Mellow-Go-Round. Here the little ones get a chance to show off huge talents.
Them say Miss Mary used to free that up in big time. She paint her whole house red. And after she done put on the red pillowcase and sheet, who that in the bed? No the dopey.
Let's keep the excitement going with some reggae dance and clash between two big sound systems.
But don't you ride like lightning? This man, if you ride like lightning, it'll crash like thunder. So going down along the way, now the song a little ways I would play. But guys, cause someone coming down the song a little ways I would really play. Wow, baby!
Bogle move. When me say bogle, a the whole a jungle move. Man a bogle move, woman a bogle move. Picnic bogle remix the bogle move. Bogle move, bogle move. I want new dance, a beanie fine again. Around the street and the lane and round the pen. World dance is the name and the title. The body done the devil blind and the cripple and I don't know why black with I love it so. And I need more roses fine and use them. Brand new dance, I worry have a mad. I kill all of them roses fine and use them. A world of dance, we come to teach them.
The party name God bless. So God bless people. Make we play a phone on a man. You ready?
Make me stronger.
You ready?
Oh.
Yeah, everybody put up here. Put the get up, put the get up, put the get up, put the get up.
You make me stronger.
Everybody, we have summer now, we have summer.
Gracias, Jesus.
Watch me. Everybody know, we have summer. We have summer.
Jamaica.
We have summer. We have summer. We have summer. We have summer.
To Colombia. From Canada to the US. Uganda.
Listen, we have figured. We have figured.
You're my creator.
Y'all go on now. If you know no demon now ride, you get up out of your seat. All who believe in a God, no, play that one and have his mama. All who love Father God, get up out of your seat, no man. A swasher play.
I will not beg no bread. You me say, God is my provider.
When they feel like we're gonna mash up as a country, we unite for them. All who love Father God,
Play the music, jump.
At the end of it all, the biggest excitement is the spectacular performances and fireworks to a full stadium and vibrant crowd.
Feel alright, but play the music sweet, sweet. No matter what you do, you can't get through. Play the.
Let's look back on the years 2012 and 2016.
go natty, down a race course, I sell rose can. Him no check fi festival, make the float them go on. When this a version bust in him head from I was born.
It was great. I had fun.
It get A grade for me.
The past was exciting, but so too is the future. Online or live and in living color, festival always nice.
Sip your waters, love your daughter, but play the music beat. Lick your pipe and feel alright, but play the music sweet, sweet. No matter what you do, you can't get through unless you play the music.
Hurricanes can strike at any time. In the event of one, be prepared to act quickly. If a hurricane watch or warning has been issued, review your home disaster response plan. Map out likely routes to evacuate if your home is at risk and confirm with relatives or friends you plan to stay with. Also, confirm the location of the nearest shelter. Check your emergency supplies and restock if necessary. Remember, disasters do happen, so be prepared.
Finger-licking jerk chicken, Helcher fish and bami, we run down yam and banana, roast breadfruit, sweet potato pudding. Jamaica food sweet. So let's make a pledge to use more local produce and less foreign goods. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow.
As we close out this Emancipation Day edition of Jamaica Magazine, we urge you to reflect on the importance of this time in our history. Let's chart a course for a future in which we seize every opportunity to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, do business, and retire in paradise. As always, we welcome your feedback, so be sure to email us, jamaicamagazine@gis.gov.jm. You can also visit our website to keep abreast of all the activities planned for our 60th year of independence. Until then, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thank you so much for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.